everybody, happy Sunday. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you are doing, you are having a great weekend. We're definitely into autumn and we're definitely into harvesting things. And this week, all of the apples have gone on this apple tree. They've all been harvested. A fair number of them have been eaten. And that's because that tree was starting to drop its apples. And I was like, you know what? Some of the leaves are starting to turn. I think it's time. Interestingly though, these apples on the dwarf tree, although that one did come off just there, these apples are eating apples. I think they're eating apples. I can't remember their variety. And they are not coming off the tree in large amounts yet. They're smaller and I think they've got a little bit more growing to do, but these are the last of the apples on our trees. The big apple tree, there's one over there and then there's one behind the greenhouse. They've all given up their apples for the year. So this one is like a tart, slightly tart but very firm apple. So I'm going to put that in my pocket and hopefully I'll enjoy that at some point in the not too distant future. But it's that time of year when you get to enjoy all of the cool things that your garden has produced, and you also get to feel a little sad that winter is on the way. We are now officially into autumn, and that fills me with a little bit of sadness too, because it means the leaves are going to come down and we're going to have to clean the gutters again. My wife actually went up and repaired some of the gutters last weekend. By the time you've watched this, I hope I've gone up and done some more gutter repair, because we're going to have rain all of next week, like consistently for a whole week. And so this grass, you can see the bits I haven't mowed. Haven't touched that bit over there because obviously that needs a bit of help too. I purposely haven't mowed much this year because we had such dry conditions the previous year that it actually affected our ability to have healthy grass growth. So be interesting to see what happens there. My sunflowers are pretty much all done. Look at all of those seeds. And we have a squirrel who is going around and helping themselves to all of the seeds. We still have some holdouts, right? So some of our sunflowers are still doing things, but you can see this is from when my wife was clearing out the gutters the other day. It was getting late in the evening. We didn't clean out the driveway, so I'll probably get the leaf blower out this weekend and do some fixing here. Sorry, Em's car is here today. Em is working upstairs. Chickens are doing great. The chickens are not being super productive these days because obviously the nights are getting shorter, or longer, sorry, the nights are getting longer. But we're still averaging 1 or 2 eggs a day. And everybody's doing really well. As some of you may know, poor Kate lost one of her chickens not so long back. And I think I'm going to lose one of mine soon as well. Carolyn, one of our older hens, she's sort of not really eating a huge amount at the moment, and she's fine. I mean, she seems happy enough, but she's not producing eggs, and she's sort of just spending a lot of her time just sitting and dust bathing. She seems happy. I don't know how long she's got. Her comb's nice and healthy, so I'm not pushing her, not giving her a lot of. I'm not kind of saying, hey, you need to make eggs. Or it's the dinner table. She'll just get to live out her life, however long that is, and be the barren hen, I guess. My corn is finally producing cobs, but I don't expect I'm going to get a lot. And that's made me think about next year. And I'm going to try and use the 3 Sisters method next year. The 3 Sisters method is a Native American planting method that goes back years. And it involves planting corn and beans and squashes together in the same part of your garden. And they each have a symbiotic relationship to one another, and that helps them grow healthy and strong. As you can see, a lot of my garden is kind of starting to wind down. The raspberries have pretty much started to wind down. I've got a couple of kind of last ditch efforts by my raspberry to produce fruit, but they're pretty much done. The strawberries are pretty much done now. And then over here, someone was just throwing something down from up high. Over here, we've got some lovely squashes coming in, and that looks like it might be a bramble, so I'll have to take care of that. But this squash is doing okay. I've got some more squashes coming in here, and they're not going to be huge squashes, but I'm okay with that. They'll have some nice soups. First year I've ever produced squashes. What I am very happy about is my first zucchini, or courgette, depending on which side of the Atlantic you happen to live. That one is probably going to be the only one, but I'm okay with that. Again, I think I planted them with a little too much shade. So some rejigging of the garden is in order for next year, but that's okay. We learn from our mistakes. We learn as our garden grows, and I'm going to work more on companion planting next year, especially since, look at this. These are some of my sprouts. This is all the whitefly that has accumulated on my sprouts. They are eating my sprouts. I don't know if my sprouts are going to survive. I'm hoping that the rain that's coming in the next couple of days drenches them and gets rid of them, but I don't know if that will happen or not. We had to actually get rid of all of the sprouting broccoli that was just here because it got infected. However, there's some broccoli here that has not been infected. You noticed I haven't weeded in here, partly because I just want to see what happens with this and see if I can deter the whitefly from getting in, because I don't even remember planting this, but I clearly did because it's in a row and it's nice and neat. So hey, we'll just see what happens. Over here, the beans are still producing. They are starting to wind down. It's the end of the year for them. And so as soon as that has finished, as soon as the beans are finished, I will tear those out, and I'll probably maybe put in some cover crops for the winter. Onions are doing great. They are making some good progress. And then also over here, I've still got some strawberries, believe it or not, which is absolutely incredible that we still have strawberries at this time of year. I think there'll be 1 or 2 strawberries left for the weekend, and also my nasturtiums that look lovely. They discourage a lot of pests, so my nasturtiums are doing great too. And again, yeah, I know I need to do a lot of weeding in there. The rest of the chicken gang are doing well. They're enjoying a lot of the sunflower seeds, as is one of our garden residents. We have a squirrel who is very rotund and very quick and very smart. And they've been coming in here and eating the seeds and burying them. Because why not? What I want to finish with today, is all of these incredible tomatoes. This is actually the second time I've tried to record the Sunday chicken and garden update, because the camera decided to stop working. But look, these are all of my tomatoes. I just dropped one on the floor. That was stupid of me. These are all of the tomatoes that we are currently harvesting, and you'll see from the thumbnail, we are harvesting tomatoes at an incredible rate. So many of them, in fact, that I can't keep up. And so we're going to have to do some canning and sauce making. One of the things I think I've done really well this year with the tomatoes, see one there that's turning red, is I purposely put different tomato varieties next to each other. So I didn't plant the same tomatoes together. I actually purposely left a space between them. And that seems to have made my tomatoes a lot healthier. They don't seem to have picked up any large amounts of blight or anything this year. And while that does look like a mess, and yes it is, and maybe next year I'll make some trellises or put some cages up for them, it has meant that we've got so many tomatoes. Look at all these green ones down here. Look at those. And then you kind of dig down even further, and then there's even more tomatoes, and then there's even more tomatoes, and then back there are some big tomatoes. There's a big tomato over there, like a beefsteak one, that's just starting to go red. And then over here we've got some more in the back. And it's just lovely coming in here, sort of, if you do it first thing in the morning, you miss the tomatoes. If you come in here sort of 11, 12 o'clock in the middle of the day, the sunlight casts a brilliant light on the red tomatoes, and they show up really well, and so you can pick the red tomatoes and harvest them as I am doing here. These never actually go fully red, they're just kind of just a variety that never goes fully red, and there's a couple back there in the back of the greenhouse that do the same thing. They're big green like beefsteak tomatoes that never fully go green, but you can tell when they start to get ready because of the smell, and also they drop off. So you know that they're ready, and they're very tasty, especially if you cook them first. So lots and lots and lots of tomatoes, or tomatoes, whichever way you want to do it. Interestingly, my peppers have decided to start growing now as well, which is weird because neither of these plants did very well early on in the season, and now they're starting to grow. Same thing is true with the cucumbers. We've got a couple of cucumbers there. We've got one there. I think I've learnt my lesson for next year, that I just need to maybe be a bit more patient, and next year obviously I'll put the cucumbers on this side and the tomatoes on this side, so it'll be interesting to see if there's any changes in terms of what we do. I'll be putting a lot of organic matter on these in those over the winter, just to make sure that they've got plenty of growth. And I think because this greenhouse is so big, I think I can actually use that as a place to start off winter plants in the winter, as long as we've got some warmth in there. And I think on a warm day it will capture a lot of heat, especially if I close off the greenhouse properly. Anyway, that is it for today. I'm going to put the chickens to bed in a second, but not until I've got rid of these tomatoes. I just want to thank everybody who has been watching the channel this week and putting up there. Let me move so that I am not directly in the sunlight. I want to thank everybody who has supported the channel this week with a $1 per month Patreon membership. I know a lot of people have signed up this week. It has really made a big difference to us because YouTube is no longer promoting our videos. It's unsubscribing people, and we don't know. And YouTube really couldn't give a damn. We're a small YouTube channel. We're really not worth them spending a lot of time and money on, and obviously having Patreon support, extra Patreon support, really means a lot to us, and it allows us to continue to make great content, so thank you. Must remember to pick up the eggs. So I've got tomatoes in one hand, and these are the eggs. I tend to put them right by the windscreen wipers, and yes, I've driven down the road before and suddenly an egg has come flying off and gone over the roof. So I have to remember to pick them up. It's kind of part of my ADHD-ish brain. Anyway, thank you to the amazing people who support the channel. I'm not going to read out the names today because we're actually going to change how we do that moving forwards. We're going to start focusing on the new members that are signing up. That doesn't mean we no longer are thankful to the people who are supporting us at the higher tiers. We just want to make sure that we give shout outs to everybody at all tiers as they join up, because we think that might be a little bit fairer moving forwards. Great content planned for next week. I know I hinted that there was a top secret project for us going to San Diego. Unfortunately, they got cancelled at the last minute, and we're going to have to go in like a month or so's time. So that video is not coming out next week, despite what we'd hoped. But we have some other cool videos coming out. And of course, I'll be back here next Sunday for the chicken and garden update, as I will be with some other stuff too. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you soon. Stay safe. Be an ally. Keep evolving.